Ambassador Zethkar adjusted his ceremonial robes as he gazed down at the primitive blue marble spinning lazily below his flagship. The third planet from this unremarkable yellow star had caught the hegemony's attention only because of its unusual electromagnetic signatures, crude radio waves that suggested the presence of a developing civilization. "Counselor," his aide approached with typical Velthari grace, "the preliminary scans are complete. The inhabitants appear to be in their industrial phase, barely past nuclear fission. Their most advanced vessels struggle to escape their own gravity well." Zethkar's mandibles clicked in amusement. How quaint. Another species taking their first stumbling steps toward true civilization. What do they call themselves? Humans, Excellence. They've achieved limited spaceflight but remain confined to their home system. Their technology is remarkably primitive. They still use chemical propulsion and haven't even mastered fusion. The ambassador turned from the viewport, his 6 eyes gleaming with condescension. The Velthari hegemony had encountered dozens of such species over the millennia. Most proved useful as laborers or resource gatherers once properly guided. Those who resisted were efficiently removed from the equation. "Signal the fleet to assume standard first contact formation. We'll offer them the usual terms: technological advancement in exchange for planetary resources and a modest percentage of their population for the labor corps." Zethkar's voice carried the weight of 1,000 successful negotiations. "If they refuse, we proceed to Phase 2. The massive dreadnought Eternal Dominance aligned itself with 17 smaller vessels, their crystalline hulls shimmering with barely contained energy. Advanced particle beam weapons and antimatter warheads made them more than capable of reducing any primitive resistance to radioactive dust. 3 hours later, first contact was established. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the UN's Emergency Command Center, watching the alien vessels hover ominously above Earth's major population centers. The translation protocols the visitors had transmitted made their message crystal clear: submit or perish. "Ma'am," Colonel Rodriguez approached with grim efficiency, "all defense networks are online. Operation Dark Sky is ready for your authorization." Chen nodded slowly, her weathered hands steady despite the magnitude of the moment. 50 years of preparation had led to this. Ever since the first deep space telescopes had detected signs of advanced civilizations among the stars, humanity had known this day would come. "They think we're primitive," she murmured almost to herself. "Still using chemical rockets, barely past fusion. If only they knew." The truth was, humanity had learned long ago to hide its true capabilities. While publicly struggling with Mars missions and fusion reactors, private corporations and black budget projects had achieved breakthroughs that defied conventional physics. Quantum field manipulation, zero-point energy extraction, gravitic drives, all carefully concealed beneath a veneer of technological mediocrity. "Authorization granted, Colonel. Send the signal." Across the Sol system, hidden installations began powering up. On the dark side of the moon, massive shipyards that had been disguised as mining operations opened their concealed bays. In the asteroid belt, what appeared to be simple mining rigs revealed their true nature as heavily armed battle stations. Beyond Pluto's orbit, the pride of humanity's secret fleet waited in the cold darkness. Ambassador Zethkar was reviewing the humans' predictably defiant response when his tactical officer's voice cracked with disbelief. "Excellence, I'm detecting massive gravitic distortions throughout the system." Before Zethkar could respond, space itself seemed to ripple around them. From seemingly empty void, ships began materializing, sleek angular vessels that seemed to absorb light itself. They were black as the space between stars, their surfaces seeming to bend reality around them. "Impossible," he whispered. "They can't have—" The tactical display erupted in warnings. Hundreds of vessels were decloaking throughout the system, their technology clearly surpassing anything in the hegemony's arsenal. The humans hadn't just mastered gravity manipulation, they'd weaponized it. Admiral Chen's voice crackled across all frequencies, her words calm and measured, Ambassador Zethkar of the Velthari hegemony, you made several miscalculations. First, you assumed we were as primitive as we appeared. Second, you assumed we were defenseless. Third, and most critically, you assumed we would submit. The black ships moved with predatory grace, surrounding the hegemony fleet in perfect formation. Each vessel bristled with weapons that shouldn't have existed, gravity cannons that could crush matter at the subatomic level, quantum disruptors that could phase targets out of existence, and dark energy projectors that could create localized black holes. You called us primitive, Chen continued. You've spent millennia believing that technological development follows predictable patterns, that any species capable of interstellar travel must display their capabilities openly. But humans learned something else entirely. We learned to hunt. Zethkar's ship shuddered as invisible forces gripped it. Around them, the rest of the hegemony fleet found themselves similarly ensnared, their weapons offline, their engines dead. For 50,000 years, Chen's voice had taken on an edge of steel. Your kind has swept across the galaxy, enslaving or destroying every species you encounter. You've grown complacent, arrogant. You forgot that evolution doesn't always favor the most advanced. Sometimes it favors the most adaptable, the most cunning, the most patient. The largest of the black ships, a massive dreadnought that dwarfed anything the hegemony had ever constructed, moved into position directly above the alien flagship. Its shadow fell across Zethkar's bridge like a burial shroud. We studied your technology through captured probes. We analyzed your tactics through historical records of your conquests. We learned your weaknesses while you remained ignorant of our strengths. You see, Ambassador, we didn't evolve on a peaceful world. We climbed to the top of our food chain by being better predators than anything that came before us. Zethkar's mandibles trembled as he realized the full scope of their miscalculation. The humans hadn't been discovered by the hegemony. They'd allowed themselves to be found. Your options are simple, Chen concluded. You can surrender your fleet and submit to judgment for your crimes against sentient species throughout the galaxy. Or you can resist and learn why humans have a saying, speak softly and carry a big stick. Today, Ambassador, we're done speaking softly. As the black ships moved closer, their hulls seeming to drink in the light of distant stars, Zethkar understood that the age of hegemony dominance was ending. Across the galaxy, humanity's patient watchers would be sending word. The primitive species they dismissed had evolved beyond their comprehension. The hunters had become the hunted, and Earth's children were ready to inherit the stars.